Welcome back. Join me while I break down another movie plot. Enjoy the memories and watch out for spoilers. Mankind's now led by a military-managed government and is advancing into hostile alien territory. After successfully eradicating one of the Arachnids' homeworlds, one of the bug leaders was captured and the Federation pushed forward into what's known as the Quarantine Zone. On an unnamed planet, the Arachnids have a squad of mobile infantry surrounded on all sides. Even with the newly issued Federation laser rifles and psychic soldiers, the Arachnid forces have cut down the troopers' numbers to just a few. General Jack Shepard hasn't had any luck with contacting a dropship to rescue them and decides to make a last stand with several of his best soldiers to allow the rest to escape. Corporal Kobe's located an abandoned outpost only a few minutes away called Hotel Delta, so they plan to hold up there until help can arrive. Despite Sergeant Rake having all the merits, Jack tells her that the psychic Lieutenant Dill will be acting commander, as he says Rake is just a soldier of war. The general holds off the bugs long enough for the rest of the team to race across the desert until they reach the outpost. A sandstorm hits them at the entrance of the structure and they lose half their team, while Kobe is mortally struck in the back by a warrior bug destroying the squad's only radio. They bring the creature down and get Kobe inside, but he ends up dying in the presence of his friend Tor. Private Sandee and Brick remain outside to monitor for any approaching threats as they can't get the doors to close. Suddenly the squad's psychic Dill receives visions of the team being slaughtered and he begins to act erratic. He orders them to get on the radio and call for help, despite Private Duff discovering that it's been destroyed and remains useless even when powered. Former residents' belongings make it appear as though they left in a hurry, and they come across a furnace being used as a jail to hold Captain Dax. Records Private Sahara find indicate that he was a highly decorated soldier who was locked up after killing his commanding officer, awaiting transfer to Earth to be court-martialed for his crime. Suddenly Brick informs them that they have picked up bugs on the scanners surrounding the outpost. Rake attempts to take command of the group and defend their position, but the inexperienced Dill thinks it's a good idea to spread their numbers out too thin around the perimeter. As a deadly dust storm kicks up, the soldiers are swarmed by hundreds of arachnids while the lieutenant freezes up and does nothing. The rest of the team valiantly fight the bugs off while losing a few more in the process. Sahara spends most of her time during the conflict making sure the rookie Private Billy doesn't have a mental breakdown. During the chaos, she goes back inside the outpost and uses her power to check if she can trust Dax, deeming him safe enough to be released and heavily armed. He takes command of the survivors from the useless Dill at gunpoint, as he says he would rather be classed a traitor than be dead. He activates Hotel Delta's defenses and it begins a perimeter burn, launching explosive barrels into the bug army and incinerating them. Sahara and Billy volunteer to go with Dax and help him get the rest of the building defenses operational, when the team are alerted to Shepard and 3 other soldiers returning having survived their sacrifice. As they get chased down by arachnids, Billy gets the electric fences activated and the pursuing bugs are fried. While initially thinking that some of their comrades may be with him, Shepard returns with 3 soldiers that none of them recognize. Dax begins to treat Billy like a son, scorning him for losing his knife and giving him his own as a gift. Inside, Shepard introduces the team to the 2 soldiers who saved his life, Corporal Joe Griff, and Tech Sergeant Ari, as well as a third who has been unconscious since they found her Private Soda. Ari is a little twitchy, as he says his brigade was wiped out a month ago and was all alone until coming across Griff and Shepard. He is put in charge of repairing the radio by the general, then gives the shiftiest of stares at the back of his head. With Dill having been made to look like an idiot in front of the team with the return of Dax to the rank of unofficial captain, he scorns Sahara. Sahara was once a psychic but lost most of her abilities when she hit puberty and now just serves as mobile infantry. Dax hears this and stands up for her as he sees Dill as an incompetent moron. He has no love for the Federation, as he spent years of his life training a unit just for them to be ordered into a no-win death trap. Finally, with some time to actually relax, the 2 lovebirds Sandee and Duff do their thing, while Rake finds a supply of cigars, and Griff some sugar cubes. To a group of complete strangers standing around her, Soda finally wakes up and says that she is good to go, but then gives a shifty look with Griff when the others leave. Finally they manage to get the front gate working, but it damages some cables, killing power to the force field. Everyone arms up and takes positions once again while noticing on the radar scouting parties of bugs advancing on their position. Thankfully it isn't long before Ari quickly gets the fence reactivated and the troops cheer his name. Despite telling Dax that he's thankful for everything he's done for them, the general tells him that he will surely be hung for his crime when the disgraced soldier admits to really killing his commander in cold blood. Later that night Soda tries to seduce Dax in the showers, but he isn't having any of it as he has his mind on the mission and makes her do 200 push-ups, since she has so much energy to burn. Soda then wakes Sahara up butt naked and tries to seduce her, and when that doesn't work she turns her sights on Buff and manages to succeed. Sandee sees her boyfriend having his tonsils touched and runs away heartbroken. She comes across Griff outside, who does the same thing as Soda and seduces her, and the two new couples begin to act strangely. Eventually Sahara and Dax talk their demons out between one another. Sahara was demoted for having a relationship with another Marine who was later killed, and Dax feels responsible for his team who died as it was him who gave the orders. Tor's relieved of his shift on watch by Griff, so he goes inside to help Ari with some of the wiring. Ari suddenly attacks him looking possessed and begins falling apart, when Griff shows back up to aid him in holding Tor down, and they infect him with a new breed of arachnid called control bugs. It makes a place for itself inside Tor's brain, and the squad now has 6 rats in the ranks, counting the decaying Ari. Things briefly appear to be looking up for the troopers, as Billy gets the radio working and Graham orders a rescue team to save them. With only a few hours to wait until dropships arrive and Brick getting the place sealed up tighter than a bug's buttocks, they can relax, I guess? During the night, Sahara has a nightmare of an Iraq attack, and then she wakes up and vomits in front of Rake. At the mess hall while Griff is trying to get some sugar cubes, she accidentally brushes his hand and has a psychic freak out, but keeps her cool in front of the skin suit. She attempts to go to Rake for advice but is told that maybe she's pregnant, which Rake says can cause visions for former psychics as well as make them think that they know everything. So the now confused private thinks that maybe she is just going crazy. With Ari almost completely rotted away, Griff takes his body to Brick and Billy and removes the control bug. He tosses it at their feet and locks them inside a storeroom, but Brick squishes it, revealing it to be filled with offspring. They quickly take control of the boys as their first ever hosts. Sahara tells Dax of the visions she is having, and they try to convince Dill of the situation. She says when touching Griff's hand she felt the arachnid hive mind and its connection to all of the infected soldiers. A guilt-ridden Dill isn't surprised, as he says an occasional side effect of pregnancy can be a return of psychic powers. He confesses to having the same visions and credits them for driving his poor decisions during the battle prior, having been haunted ever since by the deaths under his command. Just when you start to like him, Dill goes to warn Shepard and comes across naked Soda once again. She has already manipulated and infected the general, so Dill captures her and the rest of the returning bugs for the Federation to dissect. As he rants about the horrors that await them, Billy walks up behind him and slits his throat. His body's found by Rake, and the majority of the team blames the obvious suspect, as his present to Billy was used as the murder weapon. Rake once again imprisons him, and Sahara looks to see she is standing in a room of nothing but infected. Billy tries to infect her, but she runs away and locks herself next door. She watches on through a tiny window as Billy begins to preach crazy talk to Rake, speaking about a new god coming and that she will soon be one of them. She's ambushed by the infected squad, and despite her valiant effort, Rake is held down and had a control bug forced down her throat. Billy then gains access to Sahara and attempts to infect her, but he just lazily takes multiple slow shots to the head with a pipe. Sahara then takes a pistol from his holster and fills him and the bug full of holes. While he kneels blindfolded in the furnace, Soda drops a control bug into the room with Dax and leaves the two alone to get acquainted. Sandee discovers Rake has used adrenaline to stifle the control bug long enough to smash her over the head with a pan. She then corners Duff in the kitchen and uses a cleaver to hack him to pieces. In her final act, Rake saves Dax from the bug before it infects him, then releases him from his cell. She explains that the enemy is inside her, then shoots herself in the head before the bug can take full control. Sahara uses her restored psychic abilities to read the last thoughts of the dying bug. She discovers that the arachnid's plan is to use General Shepard to infest the Federation's high command from within. Sahara and Dax begin to search for the rest to exterminate, when Soda ambushes them and misses an ungodly amount of bullets. They easily incinerate her with a grenade, before Sandee shows back up with a pair of her own, but just blows herself up in the process. She clearly escapes the explosion but is never seen again. They confront the infected Shepard, who's now acting as the bug leader, and he explains the species' reason for hating humans. With the aliens being a hive mind, they do everything for the many, whereas humans do everything for the individual, and the arachnids see this as insanity. As the battle begins, Shepard retreats to the roof while being chased by Sahara. Dax uses Tor and Brick's own weapons against them, landing headshots on the pair simultaneously. The power and fence came down earlier, so Joe raises the gate, giving access to a bug warrior. The veteran Dax puts up a fight and manages to close the gate once again, but Griff tries to hold him down for the creature and has its pincer plunged through his head. Sahara makes it to the rooftop and sees thousands of bugs climbing Hotel Delta's walls. Shepard attacks her just as the rescue shuttle descends to extract him. Before he kills her, Dax steps out guns akimbo and knocks him off the tower with a hail of bullets. He gets the wounded Sahara onto the dropship, telling the bewildered Marines that she holds vital information and must be rescued. He refuses to get onto the ship himself with the dubbed line that murderers don't go home.
Murderers don't go home!
As the shuttle flies away, Dax goes out in a blaze of glory while killing many warriors in the process. 1 year later, Sahara is now discharged from the military and attends a recruiting seminar to speak about her experience. The Federation hides Dax's disgraced past and uses him as propaganda for recruitment, changing his final words to "Shed no tears for me, my glory lives forever." On the way out, Sahara's infant is told by the recruitment officer to grow up already, as they need fresh meat for the grinder. And the movie ends.
They don't kill so easy, do they?
So you made it. I appreciate your time. I couldn't have done it without you. Tell your mother I said thanks.